Welcome to a new era of wrestling podcasts, where the hot takes, fantasy booking, nostalgic trips, and everything that happens in your day-to-day life always comes back to the squared circle. It's the Everything is Pro Wrestling podcast with Mike DeSilva, Josh Flanagan, and Nick Flanagan.
And we are back. Everything is Pro Wrestling Podcast. Mike D, Flanny, Flanabam, the Kayfabe cousins in the building. We got ourselves a very special guest today. I'm going to say probably the strongest guest we've ever had.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say, yeah, I think we put him right up there as the strongest ever.
Bar none.
Claudio Castagnoli, of course, from All Elite Wrestling. My man, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know, speaking of that incredible physique of yours, is this time of the year tough? You know, Halloween season, candy everywhere. Are you diving into the candy bowls, or are you avoiding all of it?
Nope, I don't partake, so to speak.
No. You don't partake in any candy at all?
I mean, definitely not Halloween candy.
So what's your favorite kind of candy then?
Yeah.
If you're not digging into any Halloween candy?
Chocolate.
Like just straight chocolate?
Like Swiss chocolate?
Yes, Swiss chocolate, but Swiss chocolate from Switzerland.
Specifically from Switzerland. That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
So you're not a Halloween guy then? No costumes, nothing, never leading up to it?
No.
Absolutely not. Why would you dress up when you are, Claudio Castagnoli? There's no need.
Lives the gimmick. I love it.
I mean, no, never have.
Love that. Well, a big match tomorrow night going down. Well, by the time everybody watches, probably tonight. AEW Dynamite special Tuesday night this week. Thank you to I believe it's MLB and NHL this week.
Yep.
But we have a Tuesday night AEW Dynamite big tag team match, a very unique one. Flanny, why don't you give the stipulations here, because it's an interesting one.
Yeah, so we have our trios champ in Mr. Claudio, who's here with us, Pac, and obviously Wheeler Yuta. But this is the first time in my recollection, I've been following wrestling for a long time, I can't remember a tag match where one of the tag champs are on opposing teams. So very interesting. Obviously, a lot of backstory here in the last few weeks involving Wheeler, involving Danielson and all of the Blackpool Combat Club. So talk us a little bit to how we got to this point here at Title Tuesday with you and Pac taking on Danielson and Yuta, and what we can expect as viewers tomorrow night.
You know how we got there. I mean, I think it's a big misunderstanding. I think Wheeler will come to his senses sooner or later, and for anybody who is a fan of Bryan like myself, and all of you, anybody that followed his career, I think I would like to urge to watch, since I think very, very strongly that this is going to be his last match on national television.
Ooh, okay.
Wow. So
Bold statement.
Yeah. So somebody like Bryan Danielson, obviously, legendary, and you guys go back. I mean, you're talking Ring of Honor, you're talking obviously over at WWE and now with AEW. What's it like? What's the atmosphere like being around what's potentially the end of such a legendary career and being such a big part of it?
I mean, it's sad. It's kind of sad, because like you said, I've been around Bryan for a very long time. I think it's 20 years probably I've known him, if not a little bit, definitely around that. I've actually been in his last tag match before he had to retire. He obviously came back, and that was completely different circumstances. So this one, I feel, is more suited to how he envisions everything going down. And I mean, the run he's been on for the last year was exactly kind of, I mean, he said it is how he wants to do it. And it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be, I mean, if I'm standing the last time across the ring from him, it's going to be definitely sad. And definitely also must see, because I mean, I'm not holding back. So
Is it almost like a bittersweet moment for you? Like you said, you've been friends with, I mean, you've known him for a long time, you're a big fan of his, and now you said it Tuesday is going to be his last national television match.
I mean, it's definitely bittersweet, but also, I mean, if it has to be anybody, then it's going to be me. I mean, to that point, it was, I was the one that was in the ring with William Regal for his last match. So if I'm the one that's in the ring with Bryan for his second to last, You know, I like I said, I like him very much. I've known him for a very long time, but there's certain things that just have to be done that we keep on the professional side. And I would sure hope that he would grant me the exact same courtesy. It would be the other way around.
Awesome. And I think thinking about, you mentioned, you know, this possibly being his last nationally televised match. This weekend could be his last match, full stop. You know, he's taking on Mox at Wrestle Dream in his backyard of Spokane, Washington. Can you just talk a little bit about that match and the importance, obviously, him being home, knowing what the kind of stipulations are around that if he were to lose? And also, if you could, and I know this is very difficult for anyone, including himself, could you take us into the brain of Jon Moxley just a little bit these last few weeks and kind of this new iteration of the Blackpool Combat Club with Marina Shafir now joining the ranks?
So I feel this match has a lot of meaning for Brian. Obviously, it's in his home state. It's kind of in his home backyard. It's also, if you think about it, kind of where the whole Yes movement started, where the whole crowd just took over. That was in Seattle, and for him, kind of going out the way he wants to go out, and you know, to make that happen in Seattle, I think it's going to be very emotional and very, very special. And I mean, John mentioned that's our gift, you know, to him. And I feel the Jon Mox you see now is probably more focused, more driven, and more true to Jon Moxley than any previous versions. And I feel like it is the version that people deserve to see.
And it's, you know, being in the Blackpool Combat Club, you know, it's been fun for us to watch as fans. Are you having a ton of fun with it? I mean, being a trios champion, that's different. Obviously, you're obviously individual titles, you're used to tag team titles, but being a trios champion and in such a powerful faction, like how much fun has that been for you?
I think we didn't really have that much time to enjoy it so far. But I think it will, you know, once Wheeler comes to his senses, it's going to be off the races, and we're going to have quite the run. Obviously, it is I think it is different, you know, from tag to trios, but it has so much potential. It's so much fun. Just the way we won it in Wembley, that's very special, very special.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you mentioned that moment, not only for yourself, but for Pac, and you know, him being able to have that opportunity in Wembley, knowing he missed out on that opportunity to compete there just a year ago. How special was that moment for you to be a part of it, but also just bringing him into the BCC and the contributions he's made so quickly since joining you all?
I mean, the Bastard is great, and for him to have that moment at Wembley, I was very, very happy to be of help and to make that happen. And also for Wheeler, that was his first AEW championship. It was mine as well, actually. So, you know, but you know, Wheeler is younger, obviously, and you know, for him to win his first, that was awesome. And then for Bastard as well. So. And I feel Bastard is a great fit for us.
Yeah. A lot of those international shows have been incredible. And, you know, I've seen you talk about in the past how years ago you couldn't even fathom, you know, all these quote unquote dream matches, right? With all these different promotions, being able to be in all these events together. So what's that been like, you know, not only being specific to a particular audience or a different part of the world really at one time. Now you're really tapping into all of them at once at this current iteration of what AEW and professional wrestling as a whole has to offer. Like, what's that been like?
It's been a lot of fun to travel to different countries and enjoy and experience the crowds, how they react outside of the AEW environment, if that makes sense. Because even before, when I traveled, it was always under the same banner, under the same environment. And this allowed me to go. I did one show for New Japan, and I did two now for CMLL, and to just experience the crowd the local crowd that way. I'm extremely grateful for that, and I'm very excited that maybe one day I'll go back.
Awesome. And that's a perfect segue. I wanted to follow up. So you had the opportunity in August to win the CMLL International Grand Prix. Exactly. Just over your left shoulder there.
Right there.
So talk about how cool that was. Only being your first appearance in CMLL coming earlier this summer, if I'm correct, alongside your BCC teammates and Matt Seidel. Talk about how cool it was to have that opportunity, take home that cup, and how much that means to you.
It means a whole lot. I mean, this is the only championship or wrestling related trophy or anything that I have displayed. And you know, I was a big fan of CMLL when I moved to the United States in 2004, and it had a tremendously big influence on me and my wrestling style, and also the way I look at wrestling and the way I treat it. I lived in Mexico for about a month in 2006 or 7, and then again I went back for a little over a week trying to get into CMLL, and it just didn't work out back then. So to see the whole thing come full circle was extremely special to me. And you know, I never harbored like ill feelings or anything, because it was just at that time it wasn't right. And looking back, I completely get it. And now being able to go back and you know, be in the ring, be in that arena, and have success there, it is a crazy story, and for me very, very motivational, and you know, keeps me on my toes.
What would you say, if there even is one, is the biggest difference between wrestling in Mexico as opposed to wrestling in America?
So, I mean, people in the United States, like wrestling is part of growing up, right? You watch it with your friends and family, or maybe your grandma showed it to you, and then you go to the matches with your family. In Mexico, it's part of the culture. It's part of everything. I mean, you see wrestling. It's just normal. It's such a cultural thing. While I mean, it is culture in the United States too, but not to the extent that is in Mexico. It's almost, you know, you live it, you breathe it, and it's there everywhere. And it's very special to have success there, and to get the respect of those fans who, like I said, like it's almost like a religion to them. You know, you don't mess with wrestling, and you treat it with respect, and you work really hard at it. And to me, to get the respect from those fans is very special from what I've heard.
Yeah. This, you know, huge deal AEW just signed with Max. You know, streaming now is going to be available all over the world for fans that maybe internationally might not have been able to watch AEW Dynamite or Collision on TBS or TNT. Now they're going to have the option to watch it in simulcast right from their Max, you know, streaming service. You know, what's it like to be a part of it and potentially be introduced to now an even bigger audience?
I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. One of the cool things about that, like you said, is that people can watch it all over the world, and they can watch it on their cell phone, you know, so you can literally watch it anytime you want, wherever you are. And to be exposed to that big of an audience, I feel it's a big privilege. It's a big task, but it's also a big responsibility, you know, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, and it's shown just from, you know, being able to sign a deal like that for AEW. It goes to show the product is obviously worth a deal like that, and you know, and be introduced to fans all over the world. You have any downtime? You streaming anything? You know, talking about streaming, any particular shows you're watching right now when you're not, you know, out there training?
No, I haven't. No, I have not.
All
Nothing.
business.
All business. Yeah, I would like to think. Yeah, no, I can't think of the last show I streamed. I think in November, Arcane 2 is coming out. I'm looking forward to that. That's the first one I'm going to watch in a long time. But yeah, other than that, yeah, sorry.
Awesome.
I got life to live, you know.
Very busy man. Very busy man. As the map behind you is very fitting with the world traveler that you are. So talking about the deal a little bit and knowing, it's only been 5 years that AEW has been with us. They're still in the infancy, and they brought so many new names and storylines and folks that we can just rally around and really want to support. From your perspective, obviously being in it, what are, can you give us some names of any individuals who are working their way up, who over this first few years of AEW maybe didn't have the opportunity or weren't in that position, but now seeing where AEW is positioned for the next 5 years, are there any folks that are on your radar that us fans should be paying mind to or really be delving deep into before we get a chance to see them on our TV?
Well, I would always keep an eye out for the people you don't really see a lot on TV. I mean, obviously you have your favorites that are on TV on a weekly basis. But for example, I felt Private Party stepped up last Saturday on Collision against us. Definitely, you can see a difference in their attitude, and I think that's very interesting to see where that leads. Then there's, I feel like Top Flight is trying to find their groove, trying to do their thing. The premier athletes, mainly on Collision, the Kingdom, with like Roddy and Mike Bennett and Taven. There's Orange Cassidy, now found his new conglomeration, whatever that mouthful is. It's always I always try to pick the not obvious ones, because everybody has the obvious choices of the people who were very successful when they came in. To me, it's always, how do I say this? It's not easy to ride the wave of success, but the true character shows when that wave is going down. Like, what do you do to catch the next wave? And you can always see who is trying to reinvent themselves, who is trying to evolve their character, and who is just doing the same thing over and over. So to me, there's a lot of people that I haven't named yet, that you probably are like, man, but I really like him. I feel like those are the people that you want to support, and that's what AEW is so great about, that you can see people that you don't really, it's not the same. Like it's just the roster is so big, and hopefully with the new TV deal, you'll see a lot more of different people stepping up and making a name for themselves.
Yeah, that's what's super exciting about deals like that, is it's going to open up opportunities for, like you just said, the ones that are on the way up or maybe haven't had the opportunity to really prove themselves. We'll wrap with a couple of things here, a couple last things. I know, Flanny, big fan of your YouTube channel.
Yes, I really enjoy your The Party videos. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. How did that actually come to be that you guys started making those types of videos?
It started obviously with Up Up Down Down.
Right.
We did a lot of stuff there, and then during the pandemic, especially when we started doing Uno, that was the big thing. And then afterwards, we were all kind of still a little bit streaming. I think Adam Cole still is streaming on an almost daily basis. I kind of stopped because I understand that if you want to do it, you have to do it on a consistent basis. And I have other things that need to be on a consistent basis. I could not fit that in my schedule consistently. So I was just like, I'd rather just not. But that is something that we were like, you know what, this was always a lot of fun for us. This is like the guys' night out, so to speak. So we're just trying to get together and play some games as much as we can. And then we also figured it would be great to share it, with the people, because all the people that stick with us during the pandemic and then just watched everything, we are eternally grateful for them. And we were like, okay, we can make it work for two of us to get together and then record a little bit, even if the other ones are not there. I think the four of us haven't been on an episode for quite a while, but we're just trying to provide different content. And that's why we also started chopping it up into smaller videos so that it can be on a more consistent basis. And it was interesting with people not having it at first. So I'm like, no, you'll see over it's just so that there is content instead of once a week a long one or once every 3 weeks a long one. We just chop it up, and it's also easier for us that way because we can just tape better. But it's our guys' night out, so to speak.
Yeah,
but we just play video games.
Right. As somebody who has watched a lot of them, it's a lot of fun to watch you guys just like you guys are the same way I am with my friends when we're playing games. Like you're giving each other a hard time, but nobody's taking it personally. Like it's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you. Allegedly, right?
Right.
That's the thing.
Allegedly.
I was going to put a asterisk next to that because sometimes it can get a little personal. You know?
It can get a little personal, but I feel that's what makes it. Everybody has that group of friends that like, even if you haven't seen each other for a while, it just clicks when you get back together. So that's what we kind of exactly. So that's what we kind of trying to provide, and it helps our sanity as well as all the viewers, hopefully. So yeah, it's fun. It's something that we just want to keep doing.
Awesome. Claudio, I have another one that's a little obscure, and I know we just met. I'm really trying to make a good impression, so I'm going to ask you not to hold this against me. I know you're a coffee aficionado.
Uh-oh.
I am an individual who has never consumed an entire coffee in my 34 years on this planet. If you were trying to pitch me on getting into coffee, what is the coffee, the cappuccino, the latte? What is it that would get me to become a coffee aficionado, or at the very least, enjoy coffee the way you do?
I would say, well, since you said cappuccino, I would say a cappuccino or a flat white, which is essentially a flat white is essentially a tiny latte. Mm-hmm. It's like a 6 ounce. I think it's like a 6 ounce latte instead of a 14 ounce or whatever, because I feel like at that point you're just drinking milk and sugar or whatever they put in milk.
Yeah.
So cappuccino it has a little bit too much foam for me, but it's still absolutely delicious. So I would say cappuccino is great. And to me, about coffee, I do like the taste, but the main thing to me is it brings people together, right? Like you go out on a cup of coffee, it's like you go out on a cup of coffee with your friends, and the coffee is kind of important, and you want it to be delicious and everything, but the main thing is you hang out with your friends. So that to me is one of, and like I've seen some of the coolest places all around the world because I went to different local coffee shops. I went and talked to people that I will probably never talk to just because it was at the coffee shop. And even with friends, when we meet and talk, you drink a coffee, and that's kind of like the byproduct to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, Claudio, my wife's Italian. I'm Portuguese, so we have a proper, espresso machine here. It's like water to us,
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. You have your coffee, you talk, and then it's good.
And then you have another one, you talk some more, and we don't ever stop talking. And we talk with our hands. How Europeans, we're all the same.
You have to, but that's I feel what keeps the world going around, right? You talk to people, and that's when you exchange opinions. That's when you grow. That's when you learn. That's when you nourish relationships. And I feel that's such a beautiful thing.
Well, Claudio, we're going to wrap with this right here. Maybe when you're in town, you're here in Providence in a few weeks for Collision, we can have a coffee, maybe play some games, catch up like we're all pals now, right? We're part of the crew.
We'll see. We
haven't earned that yet. We're working on it.
Perfect.
But tell the people of Providence why they need to be at Collision on November 7th. Tickets still available right now on MikaMutualPavilion.com. Tell the people of Providence why they got to be there.
I mean, if you've never seen wrestling live, it's something that you have to experience. And I'm sure you love watching it on TV and it's fun, but being there in person, it's just special. That's how I still meet people that tell me like, hey, I saw you 10 years ago and this happened, or like you slapped my hand, or you did this. And it's just something about that being there live that you will never forget, that you bring your family, bring your friends, because you will forge memories with them that will hopefully last you for the rest of your life. And even if not, you'll have a fun night out with your family and friends. And if you come to an AEW event, there's always fun to be had. There's always surprises. There's always things you've never seen before. So I definitely suggest you take that Saturday off, make a date out of it.
Exactly. I love that. Well, Claudio Castagnoli, thank you so much for joining us today, man. We're looking forward to it. I'm going to go make a coffee, but we'll see you here in Providence in a few weeks. Thanks again, brother.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. See you guys in Providence.